plenary session 3. And this session is going to be about food systems transformation. We are going to have plenary session 3 in 2 segments. The first segment will be framing remarks, which will be provided by Dr. John Ulimwengu.
Thank you. Thank you, Lai. Thank you, colleagues from academia. Thank you for inviting me. I was asked to make a presentation on food system transformation. So I borrow the title from a recently published paper, What Does Transforming Food System Actually Mean? If you listen to everything around food these days, you will hear a call for food system transformation. So my short presentation is really to lay ground on what it means and how to proceed. First, of course, you cannot transform something you don't understand. So let's agree on this presentation of the food system from Erickson. I like this presentation because first it splits the food system components into 2 broad subcomponents. You have food system activities, production, processing, packaging, distribution, retailing, and consumption activities, and food system outcomes in terms of food utilization, availability, social welfare, food access, and of course, environmental capital. Those 2 are connected, and then it adds what is very important, the drivers of food system. You have socioeconomic drivers and the global environmental changes drivers. And then, of course, the interaction between all these components. So whenever you hear me referring to food system, this is what I have in mind. And it's very important to how I will lay out the key definition of food system transformation. So first, a couple of facts on the state of food system, African food system, using the outcome component. So now you understand why I needed that. So first, Africa is not on track to meet the Sustainable Development Goal 2. The progress toward achieving the nutrition targets by 2025 remained unacceptably low. I'm part of the team with my colleagues from academia that supporting African Union in tracking progress with respect to achieving the AGRODEP Malabo commitment. About 280 million people on the continent, which is over 1/5 of the population, still face hunger. Millions of Africans suffer from widespread of micronutrient deficiency, vitamin A, protein, calories. Poor diet now is becoming the main contributor to burden of disease across the continent. And of course, poor nutrition is leading to reduced earning potential and increased costs for healthcare. This unfortunately leads individuals and families locked into intergenerational cycles of poverty and deprivation. Overweight and obesity are already significant public health concern in many countries. So these are just few facts on the state of African food system using the outcome, food system outcome lenses. Now, the case for food system transformation is already, it's now irrefutable. There is, based on those facts, we need to do something with respect to food system. It is credited to Albert Einstein, who said that a fool is the one who does the same thing every day while expecting different results. So we don't want ourselves to be labeled fools because we are doing the same thing every day while we're expecting different results. So there is a need a call to transform food system. Food system is already operating beyond some planetary boundaries. Agriculture and its associated activities account for 21% of greenhouse emission between 2007 and 2016. The pressures placed on natural resources by food production have left 20% of the global cultivated land area degraded. Deforestation for agriculture, the intensification of agricultural landscape are the major contributor to biodiversity loss. And if you add to it the damage that environmental cause by current management of food system amplify all kind of disruptions. And no wonder the UN Food System Summit that was held in 2021 called for a transformation of food system that guarantees equitable access to affordable, healthy, safe food produced in fair and environmental friendly ways. So that last line gives you already the focus of food system transformation. So now the question is, what is the entry point to food system transformation? Based on the picture that I started with, what specific element of the system actually need to be transformed? And now it's become important to separate food system activities, as I showed, is what we do. That those are the activities, from the food system outcomes, the what we get out of the system, to help identify what specifically need to be transformed. Why? Because certain individuals may have a particular interest in specific activities, which are related to livelihood activities, so like farmers in farming. So transforming farming is not yet transforming food system. Transforming value chain is not yet transforming food system, because those are specific activities. To transform food system from a societal level viewpoint, the main is to transform, to improve overall food system outcomes, rather than enhance the efficiency or equitability of individual activities. So as long as what we are transforming, or the activities that we are transforming, are not leading to the transformation, improvement of the whole food system, it is not yet food system transformation. But much of the so-called transformation that we refer to are happening or referring to activities, agriculture transformation, as I said, value chain transformation. Those are activities. So as long as those transformation in those activities are not linked to, are not improving the whole system, the system is not yet transformed. So the objective of food system transformation is to transform food system outcomes from suboptimal states, let's say state A, to more optimal state B. So what it means is that based on the outcomes, as a society, as a community, we determine what are the benchmarks for each of the food system outcomes. And if what is actually happening is below that benchmark, then we need to transform food system to make sure that we get to that optimal state. A few examples, transforming food poor diet outcomes to better diet outcomes. So we have to decide what we mean by better diet outcomes. Poor food safety to better food safety. Very simple example is on the aflatoxin, for example. Should we continue to eat aflatoxin maize flour, or should we move to aflatoxin-free maize flour? Insufficient shareholder return to increase return. Food system should be business profitable for everyone involved. Is it happening now? If it's not happening, how do we transform the whole system to make sure that everyone that is involved gets a decent return? And sustainable to more sustainable environmental outcomes. It is, as I said, one of the promise of food system is to deliver sustainable, healthy diet to all. And one of my last example is on poor animal welfare for better animals. So these are just examples of outcomes that move from suboptimal to more optimal. Of course, the specific goals and target will depend on local context and view of what is important. The same outcomes may mean different things from one community to another, from one country to another, from one region to another. But the common theme is we are moving from a state of suboptimal to the optimal. Of course, in doing so, we need to make sure that trade-off between conflicting goals should be addressed. Of course, after we agreed on the outcomes, we agree on the outcomes that need to be transformed, to be changed. Now, those outcomes we need to move to how do we change the behavior, because it's part of the food system transformation, because those optimal outcomes won't happen just by themselves. There must be the result of changing behavior. I gave here 3 examples. Individual adapting their diet from excess caloric intake to sufficient intake to better manage health outcomes. Food processors adapting food hygiene techniques and the introduction of new technology to reduce foodborne disease outbreak. Substantially transforming the food system outcome of obesity could be achieved by radically reducing consumption behavior of high energy food, adapting food formulation to reduce high energy content while also adapting consumption behavior. So we start with food system outcomes. We agree on what need to be transformed, changed, but that agreement should lead to behavioral change on the part of consumers, on the part of producers, and to trigger that behavior change. So the actors now, those in activities, must respond to those signals. Food system activities will not adapt spontaneously, but only by the respective actor responding to the signal. So as a society, we agree on what the type of outcomes that we need. Those outcomes lead to the change in behavior. Those change in behavior send signals to those who are involved in activities. The signals are social, economic, cultural, technological, political, environmental drivers that influence the ways in which food system actors undertake their activities. This can be either internal or external, such as public health message influencing consumption pattern. Either way, signal can be seen as an opportunity or a threat. So to transform food outcomes, food system actors need to adapt their activities in response to ever-changing signals, and it's incumbent to policymakers to be continually reassessing the way in which policies is affecting and can affect the signals that drive food system actor behavior. So let's put all of this together again back to where I started. When you look at this, the figure here, so you have down the food system outcome. So that's where the transformation must originate. We need so there must be a need to transform socioeconomic outcomes of the food system, food security outcome, environmental outcomes. Those agreements on the outcomes have to be to trigger change, the behavioral change through food system policies that account for social, economic, political, science, and technology, and of course, biophysical context. Those food system policies send signals in terms of opportunities or threats to food system activities. Then this food system activity must adapt now to the need for transformation through production, processing, retailing, consumption, storing, and disposing. And of course, this is a dynamic process. So that's how you get the food system up and running. So let me finish by probably what is important to us all as we meet today. It is all this transformation agenda, so transformative agenda, so to speak, requires science, policy, and society interfaces that bridges all components of food system in a coordinated way. This is very important because as you now we know that food system is a network of actors, activities, outcomes, and it becomes critical to generate knowledge for each component of this network, for each element of the network, to make sure that whatever transformation that we are leading is driven by evidence. So that such interface need to support key 6 key functions: forecasting, monitoring. You heard my colleague Antoine emphasizing the need for forecasting and monitoring. Of course, capacity building, data collection, independent assessment, engagement, and of course, advocacy. So achieving a sustainable food system transformation requires an interlinked ecosystem of science, policy, and society interfaces that embody participation, legitimacy, accountability, transparency, rigor, capacity, and empowerment. Such interface will ensure ground-proofing of scientific evidence in multiple local contexts to engage with food tradition and holders of traditional knowledge, industry, especially in Africa, industry and commercial food players. I will stop here. Thank you.